Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, this is my final forecast for the big snowstorm that'll be hitting the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, as well as an ice storm. So before we do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will do daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Here's the latest watches and warnings, and a huge swath. We're talking 70 million people that are going to be impacted from this major winter storm, all the way up the East Coast, from the Carolinas to West Virginia to pretty much all of Pennsylvania, parts of Ohio, getting into Connecticut, New York, and Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. So there's going to be a huge swath that's going to be impacted from this winter storm. And so let's take a look at the overall surface maps. I kind of picked out two, the NAM as well as the Euro, kind of a combination of those two. I think that has the best feel of how this is going to play out over the next 2 days. Here's the latest surface map as of this morning on Wednesday, and this developing system impacted Oklahoma. We're talking, they already got 8 inches of snow in Oklahoma City. That is incredible for December. And this is actually going to be swinging up the East Coast, dumping a little bit of snow this morning into Illinois, as well as Indiana and parts of Ohio. But underneath, we've got that ice storm breaking out, and parts of northwestern the Carolinas, getting into Virginia, as well as West Virginia. So as we kind of move along, as we kind of go throughout the day, as this surface low kind of gets closer offshore, it'll deepen. We've got high pressure to the north that wraps around, draws in the colder air. And as this kind of swings up, it has the moisture with it. And then overriding that will be that transition where you'll see that kind of that rain, freezing rain, sleet, and then snow on the north side, impacting, getting into more of Virginia, into West Virginia, and creeping into Delaware, as well as a little bit into Washington, D.C. by then. But underneath, the big player to start this event will be kind of the ice storm that's going to be setting up over the northwestern parts of the Carolinas, getting into the western parts of Virginia, as well as West Virginia, where they could see anywhere from a tenth to a quarter, and some spots a half inch of ice. So that's going to be impossible to drive. It only takes less than a tenth of an inch to have huge impacts on the roads. So definitely there'll be power outages, power lines down, and obviously travel delays in this area. So use appropriate caution. And then as we kind of swing up the coast, you can see this surface low moving offshore, and these oranges and yellows start to kind of deepen, and this will start to enhance. There's a lot of warm air, there's a lot of warm surface sea surface temperatures along the coast, and that's going to be aiding and taking advantage into the system as that cold air gets pulled in from the north. And as this kind of wraps around, we'll have what they call a warm nose as these temperatures become elevated about 3,000 feet. And that's why I think we're going to have that transition where it's going to melt and then freeze on impact, where that freezing rain is going to take place. But over the top, we'll be transitioning to all snow by then, and Pennsylvania into Ohio, getting into upstate southern parts of New York. And then as we transition into overnight, this is where it starts really start getting good. I mean, as this surface low swings off, we'll have what they call a deformation zone. And there's going to be a band that's going to be setting up somewhere over, central and southern PA, where I do think they just get clocked with 2 to 4 inch per hour snowfall rates. It's going to be an incredible transition, and we're talking thunder snow too, possible. A very dynamic system coming up, and wherever that banding takes place, that's going to be some of your extreme heavier snowfall rates as this kind of swings up the coast. But Now let's take a look at the 700 temperature, and this is where that banding, what I'm kind of talking about. These are the lapse rates, and this is where we're going to throw off some of the totals of what you're seeing. So because when you get this banding, it's hard to play out. We're saying, you know, the atmosphere is capable of 2 to 4 inch per hour snowfall rates. I would not be surprised at some point in time it could be 5 inches in this area. This is going to be some very heavy snow along this band and some thunder snow too. So, and this is going to play out overnight. So this is about 10 o'clock on a Wednesday evening. So wherever this band kind of sets up and moves along, that is going to be some of your greatest snowfall rates, and it's going to be extreme at times, and it will last for hours. And I think that's where you're going to getting these, you know, double-digit totals really add up in a big way. And this will swing up overnight on Wednesday. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. So this is where we're going to get your heaviest snowfall while you're sleeping. So I know a lot of you guys, if you live up here, you may not be able to sleep in an event like this. This is a pretty big event. And I know a weather nerd like me, I'd probably be up all night long watching this thing. And then, you know, coming up the coast, and like I said, along this banding, this is where it's going to start. You know, these 2 to 4 inch per hour snowfall rates would not be unheard of as this kind of swings up the coast. And then by getting into the overnight on Wednesday, going into Thursday morning, this surface low still continues to be off the coast, wrapping in that warmer air, making the transition, cold air from the top from that high pressure, still snowing pretty good over Pennsylvania, northern parts of New Jersey, getting into New York, and pretty much all of Massachusetts and Connecticut and Rhode Island, getting into Long Island as well. Well, I do think you're going to be picking up at least 8 to 10, 12 inches from this storm. And as this kind of swings across, it'll be all snow on the backside as this low pressure continues moving off to the east. And then it'll be closer to the coast. So that's when I think Boston will start picking up some of your heavier snowfall totals, where you could easily pick up a foot in the Boston area. So this will be some of your biggest. Even Philly, we're talking almost 8 inches of snow, and that'll be your biggest snow you've seen in that area since March of 2018. But on top of that, I do think tomorrow morning you're going to have a zone where I think they're going to be issuing blizzard watches coming up for parts of New Jersey, probably eastern parts of Pennsylvania, where I think you got to have at least 35-mile-per-hour winds for a 3-hour time frame. I do think we meet that criteria like late overnight Wednesday, getting into Thursday morning in this area. So I would not be surprised if they start issuing blizzard watches later on this morning. And then, like I said, as that band continues to lift off to the northeast and swinging off to the east, it'll kind of wind down by Wednesday morning, getting around noontime. You'll start winding down this storm. So this will be a pretty quick hitter. I mean, from Wednesday morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning, all the way to about noon on Thursday. So there's about a 36-hour window this storm is going to take place. Here's your latest snowfall totals from the latest NAM. I do think this is kind of a fair guesstimate of where these snowfall totals are going to play out. Some may be higher with that banding, but a swath of 1 to 3 inches from Indiana to Ohio. We're making that transition, say in Pittsburgh, where I'm thinking they were looking at 6 inches yesterday. You're probably going to be at more like 9 inches now in Pittsburgh, but there's going to be a major drop. And just 50 miles away, you could be looking at a foot plus, and start getting into central PA, getting especially eastern PA, where this is where that banding is going to set up over that area. So this is going to be a swath of easily 12 to 18 inches, and then isolated spots of 18 to 24 inches would not be out of the question. And then there could be even spots possibly isolated of 30 inches. I'm not seeing any 4 feet or some of these crazy estimates I've seen out there or anything like that, but a good swath of 12 to 18 inches would be easily played out from this storm. And here's the Euro. So it's pretty much congruent now with the NAM short range mesoscale model, 9 inches in Pittsburgh, and then having the bullseye somewhere in PA, central, if not northern PA, getting into northern New Jersey, getting into southern New York. Let's kind of zoom in to look at some of the totals in more detail. You're looking at Columbus, 2.3 inches. So a good swath of like say 1 to 3 inches. And the Ohio Valley will make the transition. There's your 9 inches in Pittsburgh. And let's kind of move along down to the south, Roanoke around 2 inches. And as this swings up, you'll get a little bit of snow on Washington, D.C., maybe 1 to 2 inches, but it's going to be a quick hitter and it's going to transfer to all rain because you have that warm nose for you guys in that area. And then as we swing up, that's where we're going to have the deformation zone of easily of 12 to 18 inch swath in this red area. And yeah, where that banding takes place, you could easily get 18 to 24 inches in these spots as it swings up the coast. There's your 8 inches in Philly. So that is going to be a welcome snow for you guys, especially after last year. I know there was pretty much a non-event last year. And then check out New York City, 15 inches. So yeah, you could easily pick up, I think you're going to be in that zone of that banding overnight on Wednesday night, getting into early Thursday morning. So a good foot for you guys coming up in that area. And then even Boston picks up a foot. So yeah, these areas from 12 to 18 inches would not be out of the question. Pretty easy. And then as this swings up the coast, this will be more of a southward tilt. It's not going to go north. So you'll have some of your lower snow amounts kind of winding down into Maine as the system kind of peters itself out by Thursday afternoon. So, but a pretty big event for the next 36 hours coming up for you guys for the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.